Introduction: there are moments in life when you feel trapped no matter what you do. The door stays locked. In our daily life, this trap appears silently. You need confidence to start, but you need to start to gain confidence. You need success to feel motivated, but you need motivation to succeed. This book helps you break these impossible loops with simple lessons, emotional tone, smooth flow, and real-life insight. These 10 chapters guide you out of any no-win situationing, move you toward clarity, strength, and personal freedom. Enjoyed the video? Subscribe to our channel, heave it a like, share it with friends, and leave a comment. Don't forget to hit the bell icon for all updates. Chapter 1. Understanding the Trap. Have you ever felt stuck in a moment where every option feels wrong and every step leads you back to the same point? It's like standing in a maze where every turn looks the same. You want to move, but something inside whispers, nothing will change. This silent prison is called a catch-trap that looks small from outside but feels impossible from inside. Most people think catch-22 moments are rare, but the truth is, we face them often. You want to start something new, but feel unprepared. You want confidence, but think confidence comes only after success. You want action, but wait for the perfect moment. The loop continues. This chapter helps you see how these loops are formed and why understanding is the first step toward breaking them. Catch-22 is not just a problem. It's a pattern. It hides inside excuses, fears, overthinking, and doubts. It is a circle with no beginning and no end. For example, you want to speak confidently, but fear judgment. You fear judgment because you never speak. You want opportunities, but opportunities need experience. Experience needs opportunities. These loops quietly control your decisions. You try to move forward, but the loop pulls you back like an invisible chain. Most people don't escape, not because they are weak, but because they don't even notice the loop exists. Awareness is freedom. Why do these traps feel so real? Because the mind loves safety. It tells you, don't start yet. You're not ready. Wait for the right time. You might fail. These thoughts feel logical, but actually create the loop. The mind chooses safety. Growth needs discomfort. The mind wants certainty. Progress needs movement. This conflict becomes the trap. You want change, but your mind wants safety. The biggest lie of a catch-22 is, I have no choice. But choices always exist. Visibility disappears. You are not trapped by lack of options. You are trapped by lack of clarity. Imagine sitting in a dark room. You can't see the door, so you think it doesn't exist. But the door is there. The darkness hides it. Fear, doubt, and overthinking turn off the lights. This book turns them back on. Many catch-22 loops come from our own beliefs. I can't start until things are perfect. I must succeed before feeling confident. I'll move forward when the right time comes. These beliefs sound innocent, but they build the loop. The situation doesn't trap you. Your thinking does. Awareness is the first key. Ask yourself, why am I stuck? Which belief is blocking me? Is this rule even real? These questions bring clarity. Once you see the loop, it weakens. When you name your trap, this is a confidence loop. This is a fear loop. You separate yourself from the problem. You stop being inside the trap and start observing it. Observation creates freedom. Some people stay stuck forever because they accept the loop as their identity. They say, this is just how my life is, and repeat the same thoughts for years. But you are different. You are reading this, questioning, opening doors inside your mind. Curiosity is your power. Awareness is your escape. Nothing changes until you do. Situations don't break. First mindsets do. A small mental shift creates a new path. The walls that felt solid begin to crack. The impossible becomes possible. This chapter opened your eyes. The next chapters will guide your steps. You now understand what a catch-22 is, how it forms, why it feels real, how the mind strengthens it, and how awareness begins to break it. You're no longer blind to the loop. Final thought: you are not stuck because life is impossible. You are stuck because you are trapped in a loop, and every loop has a weak point. This book helps you find it, break it, and move into a new direction. Chapter 2. The psychology behind no-win situations. The hardest battles are not outside, they are inside your mind. Before you blame circumstances, people, or timing, you must understand one truth. Many Catch-22 situations are built by your own psychology. The trap feels real because your thoughts make it real. This chapter uncovers how the mind quietly designs no-win situations, and how awareness can break them. Have you ever wondered why you think in circles, even when you want to move forward? Why you feel stuck, even when the path is open? Why fear feels louder than possibility? It's because your brain follows patterns that protect you, but also limit you. Your mind's first job is survival. It cares about safety more than success, growth, change, risk. Stepping into the unknown, these things feel dangerous to the mind. So the brain quietly builds mental walls around you, then convinces you the walls are real. This is how the Catch-22 begins. You want progress, but your mind wants protection. One of the strongest psychological traps is over. The brain believes if it thinks long enough, it will find the perfect solution. But overthinking doesn't create clarity, it creates confusion. You keep repeating the same thoughts, searching for answers that never appear. This loop becomes a self-made prison. Another psychological loop comes from fear of failure. Your mind tells you, if you don't try, you can't fail. This feels safe, but it locks you in the same place. You avoid action because you fear failure, but you fear failure because you avoid action. That's a perfect Catch-22. Then comes the fear of judgment. People hesitate, not because they can't speak or act, but because they imagine negative reactions. Your brain creates a story before reality even happens. You hold back your voice, your ideas, your attempts just to avoid imagined criticism. Slowly, silence becomes your habit, and habits become identity. Another powerful mental trap is uncertainty, anxiety. Your brain hates unclear outcomes. It pushes you toward familiar routines, even if those routines are unhealthy. You stay in the same comfort zone, telling yourself you're not ready yet. But readiness is something created by action, not waiting. Then there's self-doubt. The quiet voice that says, maybe I'm not good enough. This voice doesn't come from truth, it comes from old memories, past mistakes, and emotional wounds. But your brain repeats it so many times that it starts feeling like reality. Doubt becomes a belief, and belief becomes a barrier. A Catch-22 exists because two psychological forces crash into each other. Your desire to grow and your fear of discomfort. Your dreams pull you forward. Your fears pull you backward. The tension creates paralysis. You are moving and not moving at the same time. But here's the powerful part. When you understand how your mind forms these loops, you gain the ability to break them. You stop fighting invisible enemies. You stop blaming yourself. You begin to see that the trap is not fate, it is a pattern. And patterns can be changed. To break these no-win loops, you need two things: awareness and action. Awareness shows you the trap. Action breaks it. But the action doesn't have to be big. A small shift, a tiny step, a simple decision can weaken the loop. Once the loop weakens, momentum starts building. Once momentum begins, fear loses its voice. You must also understand the psychology of identity. Your brain tries to keep you consistent with what you believe about yourself. If you think you're shy, you act shy. If you believe you're unlucky, you notice failure more than success. Identity becomes the center of the loop. Change the identity, and the entire loop begins to fall apart. Another psychological element is learned helplessness, the feeling that nothing you do will make a difference. This mindset forms when someone faces repeated setbacks. The brain starts assuming all future attempts will fail too. But this is an illusion. Past failure does not predict future failure unless you stop trying. The psychology behind Catch-22 is not your enemy. It is simply a protective system that's working too hard. Your mind is trying to save you, but in saving you, it stops you. When you understand this, you stop blaming yourself. You start working with your mind, not against it. You gently challenge your fears. You question old beliefs. You ask, is this true, or is this just a thought? When this awareness awakens, something powerful happens. The loop starts cracking. You see possibilities where you once saw problems. You see choices where you once saw walls. You see open doors where you once saw darkness. End thought. You cannot win against a trap you don't understand. But once you understand the psychology behind it, the trap loses its power. In the next chapter, you will learn how to take these insights and use them to break the loops that have held you back for years. Chapter 3, Breaking the Mental Loop. Have you ever noticed how a single thought can repeat again and again until it becomes a cage? You want to act, but the same fear returns. You want to decide, but the same doubt appears. You want to move, but the same confusion holds you still. The truth is simple. You cannot escape a loop by thinking your way out. You escape by acting your way out. The mind creates the loop, so the mind alone cannot break it. Action is the key. Even a small action. Even a slow action. Even an imperfect action. It doesn't matter how tiny the step is if you move. The loop breaks. But before action comes clarity, most loops stay alive because your mind feels overwhelmed. Too many fears. Too many outcomes. Too many what-ifs. When everything feels important, nothing moves. So the first step to breaking the loop is simplifying your thoughts. Instead of asking, what if everything goes wrong? Ask, what is one small thing I can do right now? This one question turns a big loop into a small step. Another powerful tool is interrupting the pattern. When your mind starts repeating fear or doubt, break the rhythm. Stand up. Change your environment. Take a deep breath. Say out loud, stop. When you interrupt the thought, you interrupt the loop. The brain cannot stay stuck in a pattern that keeps getting disrupted. The next step is a loop is strong because you see only one meaning. For example, if I fail, I will be embarrassed. But what if failure is proof of courage? What if failure is a step of growth? What if failure means you're learning? A new meaning creates a new path, and a new path breaks the loop. You must also challenge the biggest illusion in any Catch-22. Perfection. Many people stay stuck because they want the perfect moment, perfect clarity, perfect plan. But perfection doesn't break loops, Mobin Doy. Tell yourself progress, not perfection. When you accept imperfection, the loop loses its control. You stop waiting. You start doing. Another method is micro-action. Instead of trying to solve everything, do something extremely small. Write one sentence, make one call, walk for 1 minute, speak one line. These tiny actions send a message to your brain. I am moving. And once your brain sees movement, momentum begins. Momentum is the enemy of loops. Breaking a mental loop becomes easier when you also break emotional pressure. Many loops stay alive because you attach fear or shame to them. Let go of the pressure to be right. Let go of the pressure to be perfect. Let go of the pressure to match expectations. When pressure drops, action becomes possible. Another powerful way to escape is changing your environment. The mind repeats what the environment reminds it of. If you sit in the same place where you always overthink, your brain automatically returns to the loop. Move to a new corner. Go outside. Sit somewhere different. A new space creates new thoughts. One of the strongest tools is many people stay stuck because they secretly wait for approval from people, society, family, or even their own fear. But the loop ends when you tell yourself, I allow myself to try. I allow myself to learn. I allow myself to grow. Permission is freedom. Finally, the loop breaks when you shift identity. Instead of saying, I'm someone who gets stuck, say, I'm someone who takes action. Identity controls behavior. When you change how you see yourself, you change what you do. And when you change what you do, the loop collapses. End thought. A mental loop is strong only when you stay still. The moment you take even the smallest step, the loop cracks. The moment you choose progress over fear, the loop weakens. The moment you act, you break free. In the next chapter, you will learn how to rewrite the rules that once controlled your life and replace them with rules that move you forward. Chapter 4. Rewriting the rules. Sometimes the biggest trap in life isn't the situation, it's the rules you believe you must follow. Rules you never questioned. Rules you never created. Rules that were handed to you by fear, society, past experiences, or old thinking. These invisible rules silently control your choices, limit your growth, and keep you trapped in a catch-22. Chapter 4 is about breaking those old rules and writing new ones that lead you forward. Hook. Have you ever asked yourself, who told me I have to live like this? Most of the rules inside your mind were created during moments of fear, pressure, or uncertainty. They may have protected you once, but now they hold you back. When you rewrite your inner rules, you rewrite your life. The first rule to break is the rule of waiting. Many people believe they must wait for the right moment, perfect conditions, or total clarity before taking action. But the truth is, clarity comes after action, not before. Italiano. The rule of waiting keeps you stuck in the same place for years. Replace it with a new rule. Start before you feel ready. This single shift opens doors you never saw before. Another old rule says, you must avoid mistakes. This belief creates fear, hesitation, and but mistakes are not proof of weakness, they are proof of effort. Every successful person has failed more times than beginners have even tried. Replace the rule of avoiding mistakes with a new rule. Mistakes are steps, not setbacks. Once this rule becomes part of you, fear loses its power. Many people also follow the rule, I must please everyone. This rule traps you in expectations, judgment, and silent stress. You sacrifice your dreams to avoid disappointing others. But no matter how perfectly you behave, someone will still disagree. Replace it with a new rule. Your life is yours first. When you follow this rule, you feel lighter, freer, and more authentic. Another harmful rule is, I need permission to begin. People wait for approval from family, friends, society, or even their own doubts. But waiting for permission means giving away control of your life. Replace that rule with, I give myself permission to grow. This single thought breaks emotional barriers instantly. The rule of comparison is another trap. I should be where others are. Comparison steals your confidence, joy, and clarity. You start measuring your journey with someone else's timeline. But every person has a different starting point and different challenges. Replace the rule of comparison with, I grow at my own pace. This brings peace and focus. A deeply hidden rule is, I must be perfect before I try. Perfection is a beautiful idea, but a terrible habit. It stops movement. It kills creativity. It traps you in endless planning. Replace this rule with, perfect is a direction, not a requirement. Once you allow imperfection, you allow progress. Another limiting rule says, I must always be strong. This rule sounds positive, but it forces you to hide emotions, fears, and struggles. It makes you carry more weight than you should. Replace it with, strength includes being honest about your challenges. Real strength is not pretending. It's progressing even when things are hard. A silent rule many people follow is, I can't change who I am. This belief blocks growth. You feel trapped in old habits, old patterns, old identities. But identity is flexible. You are allowed to evolve. Replace the rule with, every day is a chance to recreate myself. This mindset gives you freedom to grow without guilt. Rewriting rules doesn't happen instantly. It happens through awareness and repetition. Start noticing whenever an old rule appears. Ask yourself, is this rule helping me or stopping me? If it is stopping you, replace it on the spot. Over time, the new rules become natural. They guide your decisions, shape your confidence, and build a new reality. End thought. You cannot build a new life with old rules. The moment you challenge the beliefs that limit you, you break free from the Catch-22 that once controlled your mind. In the next chapter, you will learn how to turn fear into forward movement and use courage as your new source of power. Chapter 5. Turning fear into forward movement. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is information. It tells you where your growth is waiting. But most people misunderstand. Fear, they see it as a wall instead of a signal. They think fear means stop, when in reality, fear often means this matters. Chapter 5 shows you how to turn fear from a barrier into a bridge, from a warning into a direction, from a weakness into a quiet strength. Hook. Have you ever noticed that the things you fear the most are often the things that can change your life the most? Speaking up, starting something new, taking a risk, chasing a dream. Fear appears only where possibility exists. Fear doesn't show up in dead places. It shows up where something powerful is waiting for you. The first step in transforming fear is naming it. Fear grows in silence. When you name it, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of uncertainty, it becomes smaller. Naming fear turns a dark shadow into something you can see clearly. You can't fight what you refuse to see. The next step is understanding that fear is a prediction, not a fact. Fear imagines worst-case scenarios long before anything happens. Your brain tries to protect you by exaggerating danger. But most fears are mental stories, not real threats. When you remind yourself, this is just a thought, fear loseth half its power instantly. Fear also becomes dangerous when you run from it. Avoidance feeds fear. The more you avoid something, the stronger the fear becomes. But when you face fear, step by step, it shrinks. Your courage grows from exposure, not escape. Even a tiny step towards what you fear rewires your mind. Another method is shifting attention. Fear focuses your mind on what might go wrong. Shift your attention to what might go right. Ask yourself, what is the best thing that could happen if I try? This single question changes your emotional direction. Hope is as real as fear. You just have to choose which one to feed. You must also recognize the physical side of fear. Your heart beats faster, your body tenses, your breath shortens. But these reactions are the same signals your body sends during excitement. The body doesn't always know the difference between fear and enthusiasm. If you reinterpret these signals as energy, not danger, your fear becomes fuel. One powerful technique is fear reframing. Instead of thinking, I am scared to fail, think, this fear means I'm growing. Instead of thinking, people will judge me, think, my voice deserves to be heard. Instead of thinking, what if I can't, think, what if I can? Reframing changes fear into possibility. Another step in breaking fear's hold is reducing the size of the task. Fear makes everything look bigger than it is. Break the task into small steps. Don't focus on the whole journey. Focus on the next minute, the next move, the next action. When you shrink the task, you shrink the fear. You also need to stop giving fear a final say. Fear is allowed to speak, but it is not allowed to decide. Let fear sit beside you, but don't let it drive. Tell yourself, I hear you, but I'm moving anyway. This is courage, not the absence of fear, but movement in spite of fear. One of the strongest tools is fear journaling. Write down your fear. Write the worst-case scenario. Then ask, if this happened, what would I do? Most of the time you'll realize you can handle it. Fear becomes weaker when you shine logic on it. Finally, the biggest transformation comes when you understand that fear appears before big life upgrades. The more important something is, the louder fear becomes. That means fear is often a sign of alignment, not danger. When fear shows up, instead of backing away, lean in. Something meaningful is waiting on the other side. End thought. Fear doesn't disappear when you avoid it. It disappears when you move through it. Every step forward rewrites your relationship with fear. Every small act of courage weakens the loop that once trapped you. In the next chapter, you will learn how to build unshakable confidence, kind that keeps you moving no matter what tries to stop you. Chapter 6. Breaking the invisible loop. Sometimes the biggest traps in life are not the ones we can see, but the ones we silently carry inside our minds. This is the cruel truth about most Catch-22 situations. They don't start in the outside world, they begin in your thoughts. And because they begin there, they quietly shape your choices, your progress, and your confidence. Before you realize it, you are living inside a loop that keeps repeating the same fears, the same doubts, the same delays. This chapter is about breaking that invisible loop with clarity, courage, and small actions that create big freedom. Hook. What if the only thing stopping you is the story you keep telling yourself? Every person, at some point, becomes stuck in an unseen circle of hesitation. You want to start something new, but you feel unprepared. You want to take a bold step, but you fear what people will think. You want to grow, but your mind keeps replaying old mistakes. This loop becomes your personal Catch-22. You can't move forward because you feel you're not ready, and you can't feel ready because you never move forward. A perfect trap. A silent trap, but absolutely breakable. The first step is awareness. Most people don't even realize the loop is controlling them. They think their fear is logical. They think their doubt is normal. They think waiting is wise. But the truth is, hesitation often disguises itself as logic. Jure, mind size. Prepare more when you've already prepared enough. It says, think again. When thinking isn't the problem, action is. This invisible loop uses your own thoughts against you. And that is exactly why recognizing it becomes your first moment of power. Let's break down how this loop operates. It begins with a belief, usually one that was never questioned. For example, I must be perfect before I start. This belief pushes you to wait. Waiting makes you feel behind. Feeling behind makes you lose confidence. Low confidence makes you avoid starting, and avoiding the start becomes proof that you were right to wait. The loop closes. The story repeats. You stay stuck. Another common loop is comparison. You look at others who are ahead, and instead of learning, you freeze. Your mind size. They are better, so you pause. That pause becomes another pause. Slowly, comparison turns into self-doubt, and self-doubt becomes a habit. The loop tightens. Some loops come from fear of judgment. What will people say? If I fail? This thought alone has killed more dreams than failure ever has. But here's the truth. You must write in your heart. People who judge are not doing better than you. People who succeed are too busy improving themselves to judge others. When you breathe in this truth deeply, your loop already begins to crack. Let's challenge some of the fake rules your mind builds. I need more experience before I begin. Experience doesn't fall from the sky. You create it by starting small. Nobody begins as an expert. Even experts began unprepared. People will judge me. People are more focused on their own struggles than your attempts, and those who criticize were never meant to support you anyway. I'm not ready. Readiness is not a requirement. It is a result. You feel ready after you begin, not before. I must know everything first. You learn in motion. You learn by doing. You learn by adjusting. Books give knowledge. Action gives wisdom. When you challenge these assumptions, the invisible loop weakens. But to completely break it, you need a simple, powerful habit. Daily, tiny breakthroughs. Pick one loop that holds you back. It may be fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of imperfection, fear of starting late. Now take one tiny step that directly challenges the loop. If you fear failure, attempt something small and accept imperfection. If you fear being judged, share something small publicly. If you fear starting, just start small, simple, now. These small acts create a new story inside your mind, a story of courage, a story of progress, a story where you are in control, not the loop. Another powerful tool is change the way you speak to yourself. Instead of saying I can't, say I'll try. Instead of what if I fail, ask what if I grow. Instead of I don't know enough, say I'll learn as I go. Words matter. Thoughts matter. Tone matters. You must become your own coach, not your own enemy. And remember, consistency beats intensity. You do not escape a catch-22 by waiting for a big moment. You escape it through repeated small moments that slowly reshape your identity. Every day, take one step that challenges an old belief. Every day, break the loop once. Every day, choose progress, even if progress is tiny. Tiny steps compound into complete transformation. By now, you can see a truth you may have ignored for years. You are not stuck because the world is impossible. You are stuck because your thoughts made you believe you had no options. But you always had a choice. And now, you're choosing differently. Call to action. Take one loop you want to break today and write it down. Now take one small action within the next hour that challenges it. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Right now, your breakthrough begins with the courage to take that first imperfect step. Your freedom begins the moment you refuse to obey the invisible loop. Chapter 7. Flexibility. The hidden key, one of the strongest traps in a catch-22, is rigidity. Most people fail not because they lack skill, courage, or opportunity, but because they refuse to bend, adjust, or see things from a different angle. Flexibility is not just about physical movement. It is about mental elasticity, emotional adaptability, and the courage to change plans when the old ones no longer serve you. Chapter 7 teaches you why flexibility is the hidden key to escaping loops and creating progress, even in impossible situations. Hook. Imagine holding a rigid stick and hitting a storm. It will break. Now imagine holding a flexible branch. It bends, sways, and survives. Your mind works the same way. Rigidity cracks under pressure. Flexibility thrives. The most successful people aren't the ones who never face obstacles. They are the ones who adjust, adapt, and pivot while moving forward. Rigid thinking looks like rules you never question, habits you never change, or methods you refuse to improve. You may tell yourself, I have to do it this way. I must follow the plan exactly. I cannot change direction. These thoughts feel like safety, but they are traps. Life rarely follows a straight line. Opportunities, failures, relationships, and growth are messy. The ability to bend mentally allows you to navigate this mess without getting stuck. Flexibility begins with awareness of patterns. When you notice that your usual response doesn't work, flexibility gives you the courage to try something new. It is saying the old method didn't work. I'll try another. It is not failure, it is adaptation. Every time you bend mentally, you expand the possibilities. Every time you refuse to be rigid, you break invisible chains. A flexible mindset also requires emotional elasticity. Life throws unexpected challenges, mistakes, or setbacks. People who are inflexible treat mistakes as disasters. Flexible people treat mistakes as lessons. Flexibility doesn't mean weakness. It means emotional strength, the ability to handle discomfort, disappointment, and uncertainty without being Another aspect of flexibility is creative problem solving. When rigid thinking dominates, the mind only sees one solution. When flexible thinking dominates, the mind sees multiple pathways. You may feel trapped, but flexibility allows you to spot doors you didn't notice before. It is the skill of turning obstacles into opportunities. If Plan A fails, you can immediately switch to Plan B. If Plan B struggles, you can pivot to Plan C. Rigidity leaves you stuck. flexibility keeps moving. Flexibility also requires letting go of the need for control. Many Catch-22 loops exist because you think you must control everything before acting. You try to perfect timing, prepare everything, and plan every detail. Life rarely allows this level of control. The flexible person acknowledges uncertainty, accepts imperfection, and moves anyway. They control what they can and adapt to what they cannot. This balance creates freedom. A critical habit of flexible thinkers is constant learning. They do not cling to old beliefs, methods, or assumptions. Instead, they continuously question. Is there a better way? Is this still true? Can I adjust? Learning creates adaptability. Adaptability creates options. Options create freedom from loops. Without learning, rigidity sets in, and the Catch-22. Flexibility is also about relationships and communication. Life is a network of people, ideas, and environments. If you insist that others conform to your way, conflict arises. If you bend slightly, listen, adjust, and collaborate, doors open naturally. Relationships become allies instead of obstacles. Every small adjustment creates smoother paths, stronger bonds, and new opportunities. The physical side of flexibility also matters. Mental and emotional flexibility are strengthened by movement, exercise, and presence in the body. Simple practices like walking, stretching, or deep breathing improve your ability to bend mentally. When your body moves fluidly, your mind follows. When your mind is fluid, the loops lose control. A common fear prevents flexibility. The fear of making the wrong choice. Many people believe that changing direction is weakness or failure. In truth, it is wisdom. Changing direction means learning, improving, and avoiding unnecessary loss. Flexibility is proactive, not reactive. It is the skill of steering life rather than being swept along. To practice flexibility, start small. Notice when a plan or belief doesn't work. Ask, can I try a different approach? Experiment with options. Accept the results. Adjust and continue. Each flexible adjustment weakens rigidity, shrinks fear, and builds confidence. Your mental loops, once iron chains, now bend like steel in heat. Another tool is perspective shifting. Step outside your problem. Imagine giving advice to a friend in your situation. Imagine looking at your situation from the future or from someone else's eyes. Perspective creates distance. Distance allows flexibility. Flexibility creates choice. Choice ends the loop. One more crucial point. Flexibility doesn't mean indecision. Flexible people still act, they just act wisely, adjusting as needed. They move forward without obsessing over perfection. They pivot, improve, and respond. In contrast, rigidity creates paralysis. You may think waiting preserves safety, but in truth, it strengthens the trap. Finally, flexibility must become a habit. It must be practiced daily. Every time you bend mentally, emotionally, or strategically, you train your mind to survive storms, embrace uncertainty, and discover hidden opportunities. Slowly, the invisible loops that once trapped you dissolve. Slowly, the impossible Catch-22 situations feel manageable, navigable, even conquerable. End tot. In tot. Rigidity is the silent trap that strengthens every Catch-22. Flexibility is the hidden key that opens doors and breaks chains. Bend your mind, bend your emotions, bend your approach, bend your, grow. When you grow, loops weaken. When loops weaken, freedom begins. In the next chapter, you will learn how to make decisions even when every choice feels wrong, turning indecision into clarity and doubt into confident action. Chapter 8. Decisive action in uncertain times. Life rarely presents perfect choices. Most decisions exist in the gray zone, where every option feels risky, incomplete, or uncertain. This is the essence of many Catch-22 situations. You feel paralyzed because no choice seems right, and yet doing nothing ensures stagnation. Chapter 8 shows you how to take decisive action, even when clarity is limited, turning indecision into momentum and fear into forward movement. Hook, have you ever stared at a choice and felt trapped, thinking, no option feels perfect, so maybe I shouldn't decide at all? That hesitation is the silent anchor that keeps people stuck in loops. But the truth is simple. Action doesn't require perfect conditions. It requires courage, clarity of purpose, and willingness to adjust as you move. The first principle of decisive action is understanding that perfection is a myth. Waiting for the perfect moment, perfect plan, or perfect opportunity only strengthens the loop. Life doesn't wait for perfection, and neither should you. The right time to act is almost always now. Even imperfect decisions generate feedback, growth, and movement. In contrast, waiting generates stagnation, fear, and missed opportunities. Next, embrace incremental choices. Instead of trying to solve the entire problem at once, break the decision into smaller, manageable steps. Ask yourself, what is one thing I can do in the next hour that moves me forward? Small actions may seem insignificant, but they accumulate into powerful momentum. They also reduce the fear associated with uncertainty, because each step is controlled, deliberate, and achievable. Decisive action also requires clarity of purpose. When faced with multiple options, focus on what aligns most closely with your values, goals, or vision. Even if the path is uncertain, clarity about why you move forward provides the fuel to make choices confidently. Without a sense of purpose, every decision becomes paralyzed by fear, judgment, or doubt. Another key principle is accepting risk as part of growth. Every meaningful action carries some degree of risk. Risk is not failure. It is the indicator that you are stepping beyond comfort into possibility. People avoid risk to stay safe, but safety often strengthens the Catch-22 loop. Courage does not mean absence of fear. It means moving forward despite fear. Each risk you take, thoughtfully calculated, expands your options, reduces anxiety, and weakens the loop. A crucial skill in uncertain times is decisive reflection. Before acting, quickly assess available information, potential outcomes, and resources. Identify the best course of action with what you know, make the choice, and move forward. Reflection is not overthinking. Reflection is gathering clarity and making an informed step. Once the choice is made, act. Do not linger in analysis paralysis. Many people also fall into habitual indecision, the tendency to wait for others to decide, seek endless advice, or imagine imaginary obstacles. This pattern strengthens Catch-22 situations because it reinforces dependency on external approval or imagined certainty. To break this habit, recognize your ability to make decisions based on your judgment, experience, and values. Each decision you make independently strengthens your confidence and weakens the loop. Flexibility plays a critical role in decisive action. Acting decisively doesn't mean acting rigidly. Life changes, circumstances shift, and outcomes are rarely predictable. Decisive action means committing to a choice while remaining adaptable. You move forward, but you adjust as new information emerges. In other words, flexibility and decisiveness are not opposites, they are complementary. Fear often disguises itself as indecision. You may tell yourself, I don't know enough, I might fail, or what if I make the wrong choice? Recognize these as illusions, not facts. Fear thrives when you hesitate. When you act, even imperfectly, fear loses authority. Action is the antidote to anxiety. With each step forward, your mind rewires itself, loops weaken, and confidence grows. Another tool is commitment to action over comfort. Comfort may feel safe, but it is often a trap. Choosing ease keeps you inside the loop. Choosing action, even uncomfortable action, pushes you out. Comfort may be pleasant short-term. Action builds long-term freedom. When indecision appears, remind yourself, comfort may feel good, but progress feels better. A powerful method is visualizing the outcome of inaction. Ask yourself, what happens if I do nothing? Often, the consequences of not deciding are far worse than the risks of acting. Inaction reinforces the Catch-22 loop. Action, even imperfect action, breaks it. Awareness of this truth motivates decisive behavior. Decision-making also improves when you focus on controllables, not enough. You cannot predict the entire future, but you can control your effort, attitude, and initial steps. Control what you can, release what you cannot, and act anyway. The loop's power comes from your attachment to imagined outcomes. Let go of imagined certainty and choose movement instead. Finally, decisive action becomes stronger with habit formation. The more consistently you practice making decisions, the easier it becomes. Start with small choices. Daily what to le blah. What task to begin? What call to make? Over time, decision-making becomes instinctive, loops weaken, and confidence transforms into a natural state of mind. End thought. In a world of uncertainty, indecision is a silent trap, and decisive action is your key. You don't need perfect conditions, infinite knowledge, or total confidence to break free. You need courage, clarity, and small steps toward forward movement. Every decision, no matter how small, chips away at the Catch-22 loop. Every action you take reshapes your mind, builds momentum, and turns fear into freedom. In the next chapter, you will learn how to sustain this momentum long-term, transforming temporary breakthroughs into permanent life change. Chapter 9. Sustaining momentum. Breaking free from a Catch-22 is one thing. Staying free is another. Many people take the first step, feel the rush of action, and then slowly fall back into old patterns because momentum is not automatically permanent. Chapter 9 teaches you how to sustain the forward movement you've created, maintain progress in the face of obstacles, and turn temporary breakthroughs into lasting transformation. Hook. Imagine pushing a boulder uphill. The first push requires effort, courage, and strength. But if you stop halfway, the boulder rolls back. Sustaining momentum means learning how to keep pushing, even when fatigue, fear, or doubt try to pull you down. Momentum is the engine of lasting change. The first principle of sustaining momentum is daily action without exception. Progress is not a single, heroic effort. It is a series of consistent steps. Even small actions taken every day compound into massive results. Writing one paragraph daily, sending one email, making one decision. These may seem minor, but repetition creates habit, and habit creates unstoppable forward movement. Momentum is also sustained by tracking progress. Humans are wired to respond to visible results. When you record achievements, even small ones, your brain reinforces the behavior. You feel competent, capable, and motivated. Journaling, checking off tasks, or simply noting small wins reminds you that you are moving forward, even when the path feels slow. Another crucial element is energy management. Momentum requires fuel, and your body and mind are the engine. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, and mental breaks are not optional. They are necessary. Pushing without replenishing leads to burnout. Momentum is not about endless effort. It's about smart, sustainable effort that keeps you moving forward without collapse. Flexibility remains key. Life rarely unfolds exactly as planned. Obstacles, unexpected challenges, and setbacks appear. Sustaining momentum means adjusting without quitting. When you encounter a roadblock, pivot, change strategy. Maintain the direction of growth, even if the path shifts. Rigidity stops progress. Adaptable momentum thrives. Mindset is another pillar. Momentum is strongest when confidence and belief in yourself remain intact. Every time you take action, you reinforce the identity of a doer, a mover, someone who refuses to be trapped by loops. Doubt may appear, but consistent action strengthens belief. Action reinforces identity. Identity reinforces action. A key technique is visual reinforcement. Visualizing goals and the steps to achieve them keeps momentum alive. Picture yourself completing a task, taking the next step, achieving your objectives. Visualization primes the mind for movement, reduces hesitation, and builds internal motivation that lasts beyond initial excitement. Momentum is also supported by accountability. Sharing your progress with a trusted friend, mentor, or community increases commitment. When someone else is aware of your goals, your mind becomes more disciplined, and the loop that encourages procrastination or fear weakens. Accountability transforms intentions into actions. Another powerful tool is celebration of progress. Acknowledging every step, no matter how small, energizes the brain's reward system. Celebration does not mean complacency. It means recognizing forward movement and reinforcing the habit of persistence. Momentum feeds on positivity as much as effort. One hidden trap in maintaining momentum is comparison and envy. Looking at others' success can create self-doubt and slow you down. Focus instead on your own journey. Compare your progress to where you were yesterday, last week, or last month. Personal growth compounds when attention remains internal rather than external. Momentum also thrives on clarity of purpose. The stronger your reason for moving forward, the easier it is to maintain speed. Purpose provides emotional energy that carries you past fatigue, fear, or external obstacles. When purpose aligns with action, progress becomes almost automatic. Setbacks will happen. Everyone faces failure, rejection, or unexpected difficulties. Momentum is not lost when setbacks appear. It is lost when you let setbacks define your path. The key is resilience. Seeing every challenge as a signal, not a stop sign. Resilient momentum does not stop for fear, delay, or difficulty. It adapts, recalibrates, and continues. Another essential principle is habit integration. Make momentum a part of your daily identity. Instead of "I try when I can," say "I move every day, regardless of conditions." Habitual action eliminates debate with the mind, reduces procrastination, and keeps loops from reappearing. Energy alignment also matters. Momentum flows easiest when you align tasks with your natural energy, focus periods, and personal rhythms. Some actions are best in the morning, some in the evening. Understanding your energy cycles allows you to maximize output without exhausting yourself, making momentum sustainable over the long term. Momentum feeds on continuous learning. The more you expand your skills, knowledge, and capabilities, the easier it is to act decisively, solve problems, and navigate obstacles. Every new skill adds leverage to your progress and reduces the chances of falling back into old loops. Growth and momentum feed each other in a cycle of exponential improvement. Community and environment also influence momentum. Surround yourself with people who act, create, and encourage growth. Remove or limit time with those who discourage, doubt, or stagnate. Environment shapes behavior, and a supportive environment fuels continuous action. Finally, sustaining momentum requires gratitude and reflection. Reflect on how far you've come, what you've learned, and the challenges you've overcome. Gratitude strengthens positive associations with progress, encourages continued effort, and solidifies the new identity you are creating. Reflection ensures that momentum is mindful, purposeful, and emotionally reinforced. End thought. Momentum is the bridge between temporary breakthroughs and permanent transformation. Daily action, clarity of purpose, flexibility, energy management, accountability, and resilience work together to keep you moving forward. When momentum is sustained, the Catch-22 loops lose power. Fear, doubt, and hesitation no longer control you. You become unstoppable. In the final chapter, you will learn how to combine all the strategies you discovered, ensuring lasting freedom, empowered decision-making, and a life where you lead, not follow, the traps of the past. Chapter 10. Mastery and Freedom. Escaping the Catch-22. After exploring the psychology of no-win situations, breaking loops, rewriting rules, transforming fear, building momentum, and sustaining action. The final chapter brings everything together. Chapter 10 is about mastery, the ability to combine insight, courage, adaptability, and consistency into a life that no longer feels trapped by invisible barriers. It is about creating lasting freedom and turning lessons into lived transformation. Hook. Imagine standing at the top of a mountain, looking back at the long, twisting path that once felt impossible. Every loop you broke, every fear you faced, every decision you made, every step forward, it all leads here. This is not just progress. This is mastery. And mastery is the ultimate freedom from the Catch-22. The first principle of mastery is integration. Knowledge alone does not create change. Insight without action is useless. Action without reflection is wasted energy. Mastery comes when you integrate every lesson learned in the previous chapters. Understanding your psychology, breaking mental loops, rewriting rules, facing fear, practicing flexibility, making decisive action, and sustaining momentum. Integration turns strategies into habits, and habits into identity. To achieve this, start by reflecting on the loops you've broken. Look at the mental traps that used to stop you. Overthinking, fear of judgment, fear of failure, perfectionism, indecision, comparison. Recognize how far you have come. These victories are proof that your mind, once trapped, is now flexible, resilient, and capable. Reflection reinforces confidence and solidifies new behaviors. Next, embrace ownership of your life. Mastery is impossible without full accountability. You are responsible for your actions, your reactions, and your decisions. You cannot control everything, but you can control your response. Every step you take is yours. Every choice you make shapes your journey. By owning your power, you neutralize external pressures that once held you back. Another principle is proactive adaptability. Life will always throw unexpected challenges. Mastery is not avoiding obstacles, it is navigating them with skill and poise. Flexibility, a cornerstone we explored in Chapter 7, becomes essential. You adapt your strategies without losing momentum. You adjust your plans without abandoning purpose. The master does not bend to fear, but bends with circumstances to move forward. Confidence is another pillar of mastery. Confidence is not arrogance. It is grounded in repeated action, accumulated knowledge, and lived experience. Confidence grows when you continuously challenge the loops of doubt and fear, take imperfect steps, and learn from every outcome. It is built quietly, day by day, decision by decision. Confidence allows decisive action to feel natural, even in uncertainty. Sustaining mastery also requires discipline and consistency. Momentum alone is temporary, if not maintained. You must continue daily habits, small actions, reflection, learning, and energy management. Discipline is the engine, consistency is the fuel, and momentum is the vehicle that drives you forward. Without discipline, the loops of the past can slowly reappear. Another essential aspect is purpose alignment. Mastery is not simply about escaping loops or gaining freedom. It is about living a life aligned with your values, vision, and goals. Purpose acts as a compass, guiding every choice and action. When your life aligns with your deeper purpose, momentum sustains itself. Even obstacles and setbacks feel manageable because your actions are meaningful. The practice of mindful awareness further strengthens mastery. Observe your thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Notice when old patterns try to resurface. Catch yourself before hesitation or fear pulls you back. Mindfulness allows conscious choice instead of automatic reaction. You control the loops rather than the loops controlling you. Mastery also involves strategic rest and renewal. Continuous action without reflection or recovery can lead to burnout. Even the most successful individuals need pauses, reflection, and rejuvenation. Rest is not weakness. It is preparation for continued movement. Strategic rest ensures momentum and energy remain sustainable over the long term. Another cornerstone is learning and growth. Mastery is not static. Every breakthrough opens new opportunities, new challenges, and new lessons. Continue to learn, adapt, and expand. Growth reinforces freedom, strengthens confidence, and makes you more resilient to future Catch-22. The more you grow, the fewer situations can trap you. Emotional intelligence is also key. Mastery requires awareness of your emotions and the ability to manage them effectively. Fear, doubt, anger, or impatience can appear, even at advanced stages of progress. Recognizing, understanding, and channeling these emotions prevents them from disrupting momentum. Emotional mastery supports mental clarity, confident action, and resilience. A final pillar is sharing wisdom. True mastery is not selfish. It extends beyond personal gain. By mentoring, guiding, or inspiring others, you reinforce your own lessons, deepen understanding, and create impact. Sharing your journey builds a network of support, inspires courage in others, and multiplies the power of what you've learned. To fully consolidate mastery, combine all previous strategies into a daily framework. Reflect on progress and loops broken. Take decisive small steps every day. Maintain flexibility in thought, plan, and action. Practice mindfulness and emotional awareness. Align actions with purpose and values. Celebrate small victories while remaining humble. Commit to ongoing learning and growth. Rest strategically to sustain energy and momentum. Apply accountability and community support. Share insights and empower others. When these principles are applied consistently, the Catch-22 that once controlled your life no longer exists. Fear loses its voice. Doubt becomes fuel for action. Indecision transforms into clarity. Stagnation becomes growth. Every loop you once feared now becomes an opportunity to strengthen skill, courage, and resilience. Mastery is not about perfection. It is about action, reflection, adaptability, and courage. It is the integration of every lesson learned, every loop broken, every fear faced, and every step forward sustained over time. Mastery turns temporary victories into permanent freedom. It turns hesitation into action, loops into breakthroughs, and challenges into opportunities. By mastering yourself, you finally live a life where you lead, not follow, where fear does not control, and where every Catch-22 is simply another challenge you are fully equipped to overcome. Final call to action. Look at your life today. Identify one area where a Catch-22 still exists. Take one immediate step, no matter how small, to challenge it. Reflect daily. Adjust with flexibility. Sustain momentum. And continue learning. Commit to mastery, not as a destination, but as a lifelong journey. Your freedom is not in escaping every challenge. It is in mastering how you respond, act, and grow. Start now. Your future self is waiting for the courage you choose today.